Welcome to the SEO.co Search Engine Optimization Podcast. Digital marketing essentials and next-level tactics. From off-site and on-site optimization to persuasive selling and everything in between. You'll learn actionable tips on what it takes to outright and outrank your competition.
Direct traffic to a guide or report. You could also use paid advertising to direct traffic to a certain page of your site, especially if it serves as a guide or tutorial. If that's the case, you can specifically target search queries or users that imply a need for such a guide, guaranteeing a level of relevance to your audience. You could also advertise a new report you've generated if it contains some original research. Because your information will be time-sensitive, it's worth the temporary paid boost. Indirect ties. Of course, you could also use paid advertising to get people to your main site, to a contact page, or a landing page that simply promotes the brand. This won't increase traffic or visibility for your content directly, but could indirectly lead more people to your blog once they're inspired to research your company, just like you may be motivated to research your competitors. There are hundreds of options for paid advertising on the web, and even more, if you count affiliate marketing and general banner ads. But for the sake of conciseness, I'm going to recommend only two heavy-hitting platforms for your campaign, and you can probably guess what they are: Google and Facebook. Google AdWords. Google AdWords has been the name to beat in advertising for many years, and it's little wonder why. It has some major advantages as an advertising platform. Volume. Practically everyone you know uses Google Search on a daily basis. The search engine is home to billions of searches every day, and even the strangest niche keywords are capable of generating hundreds of impressions on a daily basis. Keyword specificity. Google's keyword research tools allow you to get extremely specific in terms of who you're targeting. By selecting very specific keyword phrases, you can ensure a relevant fit for your content. Facebook ads. On the other hand, Facebook has developed its own advertising platform in a way that challenges Google with a number of unique advantages of its own. Audience. Google has tons of search data, but Facebook collects data on people. It knows their demographic makeup, their friends, their likes and dislikes, and even some of their personal behaviors and tendencies. You can target these factors with extreme specificity, breaking free of the keyword grip. Competition and budget. Though Facebook ad participation is climbing higher and higher, it's still not quite as competitive as Google AdWords. That means you'll generally pay lower prices for your ads and face less stiff competition. Approachability. Though this is a purely subjective matter, I've found that most people view Facebook's advertising platform as more approachable, or easier to learn than Google AdWords, which has a definite learning curve to its use. Aside from paid ads, another feature that I mentioned earlier, but which is deserving of another mention, is Facebook post boosting. Facebook has shown a pattern of changing its algorithm to reduce the visibility of content posted on brand pages, in an effort to get brands to pay for visibility in newsfeeds. It's working. With that said, brands can pay to boost their content to their fans, and it's relatively inexpensive, as far as paid ads go. Google and Facebook each have their own advantages and disadvantages, so it's up to you and the nature of your content to decide which is best for your campaign. You might even choose to use both. Sequels, reboots, and revisits. In this section, I want to talk about all the different ways you can transform your content to further nurture its growth and visibility. Almost all the strategies I've mentioned thus far have been about taking your content, unchanged, and generating more attention for it. Now, I want you to think about changing your content itself to support furthering its growth. Think of it as the difference between placing real estate ads to sell your house and making improvements to your house to increase its curb appeal. Both strategies will result in a higher likelihood of a bigger sale, but they take a different approach, and in many ways, complement each other. Content as part of a series. Your first option is to turn your piece of content into a series. In other words, you'll take the idea or format of that first post and expand it into a series of different posts. This is most effective when you have a topic you know has performed well. New parts of the series can capitalize on this popularity, simultaneously earning more immediate visibility and supporting both the past and future of the content series. There are a few ways you can do this. Individual components. You could take the general topic and apply it to more specific topics, or change the specific focus of an article to another, related focus. Regular features. You could also make a regular feature that keeps some concept, idea, or format consistent across multiple posts. The best way to describe this is through an example, so take Moz's Whiteboard Friday series. Every Friday, Rand Fishkin or another Moz expert uses whiteboard notes and doodles, along with a spoken monologue to describe and explore some specific topic related to SEO and content marketing. Again, because of its consistency, each new post adds value to all the posts that came before it and all the posts that will come after it. Taking advantage. No matter what kind of angle you choose for your series, the true power of a series lies in reflection and anticipation. Every time you create a new post, try to generate anticipation for your next post with a tease or a preview, and link back to your past works in the series. Updating with new information. Rather than keeping up with an ongoing series, you could support one of your older posts by simply updating it with new information. For example, if you ran a survey in your industry in 2015 around this time, why not run a similar survey in 2016 to see what's changed and what hasn't? In some contexts, this can serve as a long-term series, updated annually instead of monthly. But in other contexts, this could serve as a form of journalistic correction, or even the inclusion of new anecdotes and arguments. Making a new edit to an older piece gives you an excuse to market and distribute that piece all over again. Revisiting as a follow-up. This tactic is great for any kind of post that looks to the future. I write a lot about the future of content marketing, and the future of SEO, and I'll be the first to admit that while some of my predictions are spot on, some of them don't come close to hitting the mark. Revisiting an older piece with a new analysis, such as checking to see which of your predictions came true, is a way of hearkening back to your older material, but also shows off your transparency to your audience, which generates trust. Transforming into a new medium. As another method of transformation, you can take a piece of content that exists as one medium and transform it into another medium. In some cases, like video transcription, this will mean simply redoing the material in another form, but in other cases, like generating an infographic from research data, this will require far more investment and creativity. Creating your content within a new medium allows you to target new audiences, as some portions of the population have different content preferences than others. It's particularly useful in targeting new platforms and syndication channels, such as generating an infographic so you can take advantage of Instagram text transcription. If your original piece of content is visual or audio only, you can create a written transcription to include with it. This won't necessarily open up doors to new syndication channels, but it will help you optimize your page for SEO and serve the hearing impaired. Images. Translating content to still images can be daunting, depending on the degree of effort you choose to put in it. Translating volumes of data into a single, digestible image demands significant imagination and work, but you don't always need to go that far. Consider offering simple doodles that illustrate your concepts and ideas. I often reference Tim Urban's work over at waitbutwhy.com as examples, because he's a natural-born content marketer. But take a look at just about any of his posts and you'll see hand-drawn graphs, charts, and silly cartoons that illustrate points and provide clarity to his written thoughts. Head over to his post on cryonics and scroll down to see some examples of how he uses charts and illustrations in his text-based posts. Audio. Audio is another format that's always valid. If you have a video interview, for example, consider offering it as a downloadable MP3 file on your website. If you produce a standout piece of written content, consider recording yourself reading it out loud and offering it as an audio file. Video. Producing a video from another medium is probably the most effort-intensive transformation on this list, but considering the ever-increasing popularity of visual formats, it's well worth the trouble. If you're just starting out, try using Microsoft PowerPoint to create a slide deck that summarizes your content, then record your audio for each slide, then convert the presentation to a video using PowerPoint's native conversion capability. Webinar. While you're using PowerPoint, create a webinar. In fact, if you've created a slide deck and already recorded a video, you have a webinar. You can present your webinar to a live audience, or you can record it and playback the recording to a live audience. The choice is yours. After your live webinar is over, be sure to make it downloadable, accessible via your website so people who missed it can still watch it down the line. Slideshare. After you've created a slide deck, post it to Slideshare for further reach. PDF. Possibly one of the simpler transformations on this list, you can also convert your blog posts into downloadable PDF files, to make them available as standalone resources rather than web pages to browse. For an example of this, take a look at our guide to link building. At the top of the post, you'll notice that we've got a message indicating that the post can be downloaded as a PDF ebook. You can convert Microsoft Word documents to PDF files natively, or you can find a designer to create one for you. Anthologizing. The last two methods of transformation I'll explore are related opposites. The first is anthologizing, the process of bringing multiple posts together to form a single unit. There are two main options for this. Ebook creation. You could dream up a broad concept that you can cover in detail by stitching together more specific, in-depth posts related to some element of that topic. For example, let's say you've written individual posts about all the different stages of the sales cycle, individually. You could take that content, and with a bit of editing, adding, and subtracting, you could forge them together into a much bigger, comprehensive ebook, which you could then offer as exclusive content for your email subscribers or a downloadable PDF for your landing page. Greatest hits style. As an alternative, you could just pick and choose some of the best posts you've written over the course of the year and host them together in a true anthology. Think of it as a greatest hits of your brand. Breaking it down. The reverse process is less common because it requires you to start with a bigger, more comprehensive piece of content like an ebook. If you have a piece of content like this, you can break it down into individual sections and chapters, separating out the individual, specific topics that comprise it. From there, all you'll have to do is write up some revised introductions and conclusions, and you can transform your long-form content into more digestible blog posts and social media bites. Final takeaways. The goals of content marketing are visibility, reputation improvement, traffic, conversion rate optimization, and alternative marketing support, and you can't achieve any of those if your content exists in a vacuum. Content promotion and nurturing are your way to break out from that level of captivity. There are so many options for content promotion and support, from maximizing initial reach to transforming and breathing new life into old pieces, that it's virtually impossible to use all of them to support your strategy. Instead, try to specialize in a handful that seems to have the greatest impact on your brand. As always, you'll need to experiment, measure your results, and refine your approach, but as long as you keep supporting your content with more visibility and more potential for growth, you'll continue increasing your effectiveness and maximizing your returns. Remember, as an SEO reseller that we also provide white label reseller support for online marketing campaigns and outreach for content promotion. Feel free to take a look at our digital marketing and SEO reseller guide or get in touch with us today.
Thank you for joining us on the SEO.co podcast. We appreciate your time. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe to the show and visit SEO.co for more resources based on today's topic, as well as access to more podcast episodes to help you improve your site's long-term SEO success.